I managed to fix everything, but I really had to start with steps in the previous video. I deleted some of these, then wanted to reinstall them. The IDs on each of these are very important, obviously, because they're in the database. So if one's sort of deleting a migration and trying to recreate it on one's own, be very careful. Probably best not to leave it as is. So it's up and running again. If I do yo-yo list, you see we have all our migrations applied. If we come to our database, have I got it? No. So let me just do localhost again. And while we're waiting for that, everything's fresh and new. I deleted all the old containers and all the old volumes, and things are running here. So we've got that. Close. Let's register the server. Check our database. Schemas. Tables. Refresh. See, we've got yo-yo and we've got all our different tables. What we're doing now is we're having a look at these schema. So for example, if you want to find all the primary keys, this is the script that'll find primary key here. And I'm filtering out for tables that start with PK. When we see it, there's the default PG tables. We have a number of different ones. So if I just copy this, and these may not be the best scripts, but let's do query tool and run it. We can see we're getting all the primary keys for the tables, so that we can actually basically pull this back and do a PyTest assert. Do they actually exist? We know which ones should exist. We can do all of that. If we come back again and into like checking constraints, this one does foreign key and primary keys together. Let's do all the check constraints. This is a script here. So let's check for all the check constraints. That one's not working, was before, as always. Let's check on the defaults. Control A, Control C. So here we see all the defaults for all the for the column names on the particular tables. We have got another one here for good schema. This does seem to do everything to a degree. And I'll work on the scripts so that by the time you see them, we'll have good versions. But here we're picking up the primary type, unique, foreign key. So that picks up all of them bar the defaults and the check constraints, which don't seem to be working currently at the moment. The defaults we've seen, the primary key, just the check constraints, and it may be, do we have any check constraints? We do have a check constraint, price non-zero on the products. So let's just go into here, products, constraints. There is a price non-zero check. So let's just try it again. If not, I'll have to work on that and to get the check constraints. No, for some reason that's not working. It was, but we'll sort that out. But nonetheless, that shows how we can actually do structural testing on Postgres or any database to check that all the primary keys and foreign keys are there. We just obviously just have to kind of pull them back in and make our assertions. So that's the SQL schema. That's the SQL Postgres that connects with the Docker Compose up. So that makes sure everything, the Python is actually connected to the Postgres database. We have our migrations here. I've kept my archive migrations for myself. Steps, I just keep those steps in there. We have our .env file. We have our rollback file that rolls back everything. We have our INI, yo-yo INI, and verbosity to and on. That stopped just being prompted due to whether we wanted to apply the migration or not. I think if this is off, then it will always ask yes or no as we go through that. We have a Docker Compose for a named volume, but we also have it if you want to bind it to a folder within, and it would appear in here. We have our README, we have the rollback, the .env, some command instructions. The README contains a lot of information and pictures. So if we do open preview, you'll see that's a fairly description. And also we have the PyTest cookbook here. The link's also attached that has this and many more. So I hope you found that useful. That's YoYo, very nice little tool, like Alembic, but it's just for SQL as opposed to an ORM. Thank you.